Oh, man. It is a football Saturday here in Waco. And, it is potentially our last broadcast this season of Green and Gold Game Day. And if we have not met, my name's Scotty Swingler. This is a China Spring Cougars football helmet. For those of you that do not know me, I'm a very proud K through 12 graduate of China Spring High School. And so this helmet sits on this table when I do this show. And one of our producers here was giving me a hard time, not only because China Spring is the Cougars, Baylor's opponent today is the Cougars, but this blue, I think it's a different blue, Kevin. I'm just going to tell you. But this blue is not too dissimilar from the Houston Cougars alternative blue color. I think the Houston Texans have very slowly tried to incorporate. The Tennessee Titans certainly ran away with that Houston blue. But nevertheless, should you ever think that because I've got a bright blue Cougars helmet here, I am rooting for anyone but the Bears today, you would be horribly mistaken. We root for the Bears every day here, baby. And this is Green and Gold Game Day, and I'm about to tell you how Baylor needs to play on Senior Day in order to defeat the mighty Houston Cougs. This is Green and Gold Game Day. Run that intro.
365 Sports.
Oh, yeah. Green and Gold Game Day presented by 365 Sports. My name's Scotty Swingler. Man, hard to believe we're already here. Last regular season game for Baylor football. It's been quite the year. We'll talk a lot about it today, I'm sure. But first, I want to set the stage for today's game, and I want to thank our sponsor, Central National Bank. If you're here in Central Texas and you need a place to get a loan, open a bank account, do your savings, whatever, we trust those guys. We trust those folks at Central National Bank. They are wonderful. Go talk to Brian Fonville. Tell him that Green and Gold Game Day sent you. We would really appreciate that, and we really appreciate CNB. We're also going to launch our fan poll for this hour. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, make sure to chime in. Here's the question. Which senior on this year's team would you most want to bring back for 1 year if you could? And by the way, there are more than 4 correct answers. So if your answer is not included in this poll, why don't you get on that live chat and comment? Tell me, which senior would you want to bring back? The choices on the poll, though, Sawyer Robertson, Josh Cameron, Michael Trigg, or Jackie Marshall. There's other good options. I'm going to read off more of their names here in a minute. But which senior, if you could bring one back for another season, would you bring back? I think for me, well, I'll answer that question at the end of the hour. I'll make you wait. Make you stay tuned, everybody. That's called a tease. Okay. It is Senior Day. And I just want to reflect quickly on what Baylor is really losing in this senior class, because I think it's really easy to really have negative vibes today. I get it, because of how this season has gone. I especially think it's really easy if you're a season ticket holder or a Waco resident to skip today's game because it's not exactly the nicest day outside. Baylor is favored in this game, but I think most Baylor fans are surprised by that, right? it doesn't feel great. It's not going to feel awesome inside McLean Stadium today. But let me tell you sincerely, there are some seniors on this team that deserve a lot of love. And, we're going to talk in a little while about the standard for Baylor football and how I feel this team has underperformed that standard and this coach has underperformed that standard. And that's not a secret to anyone here. This is the first Baylor graduating class that will have spent 4 years here since 2010 and not seen a 10-win season. That to me is pretty unacceptable, okay? But who I will not lay blame at for that are these seniors. I'm going to read off their names. And just a fair warning, there's one or two that I may not pronounce correctly, and I apologize for not having the pronunciation guide up. But let's read off. There's 20 seniors who will be honored today. In the age of the transfer portal, there might be 10 or 15 other guys that leave that are contributors. We don't know. But the 20 guys that will be honored today on Senior Day: Omar Badian, Devin Bobby, Josh Cameron. Here's one I don't know: Placide Jungu Sungu, Adonis Frelo, Sidney Fugar, Joseph Hagman, Ashton Hawkins, Tyler Kirkwood, Cooper Lands, Ryan Langial, KJ Makins, Jackie Marshall, Kobe Prentice, Sawyer Robertson, Kendrick Simpkins, Michael Trigg, Seth Weller, Tevin Williams, and Cole Wilson. That is the list of the 20 seniors who will be honored today. We should note, those of us who support the Bears year over year, you are losing most of your starting offensive line there. You're obviously losing your star quarterback, who I think is going to get a lot of deserved love today. You're losing all of your great pass catchers. Like, I don't mean to over exaggerate here, but Josh, Ashton, Kobe, Trigg, Cole. I'm pretty sure those are your top 5 receivers this season, right? So that's not great. And let me tell you why I appreciate these seniors, because these guys came in on the heels or in the midst of a Big 12 championship run in 2021. Obviously, a couple of these guys transferred in after that, but a lot of these guys came in on the heels or in the midst of a 2021 championship run. Surely assuming that they would get to experience that for themselves. And they haven't. And again, I don't lay the blame for that at their feet. And what I appreciate as a Baylor alum and a lifelong Baylor fan is when people love Baylor. Man, if you love Baylor, I love you. It's kind of an approach I take in life. I just assume you're all right until you prove me wrong. And these guys like a Devin Bobby or a Josh Cameron, Cooper Lands, like Jackie Marshall. Jackie Marshall was a very highly recruited player out of high school. These guys came to Baylor, and yes, they've been part of a 4-year stretch that is disappointing. But man, a lot of these guys, Devin Bobby, Sawyer Robertson after he transferred in, Josh, Cooper, Jackie, Kendrick Simpkins, Tevin Williams, all of these guys could have this past season, after that, win streak to finish the season with 8 wins. Most of these guys could have transferred to bigger places. We know for a fact a couple of those guys were offered pretty big money to transfer to bigger places. And they chose to wear Baylor across their chest. And I will always appreciate that. Excuse me. On Wednesday, I was working on the Pete Souza show, And we did this like Thanksgiving special episode. And so Pete's brother came on, and I had my dad come on, and my dad showed me all these pictures of me when I was a kid, and I grew up in Waco. And man, we went to every Meet the Bears event, spring game, every football game. And of course, when I was like 10 years old, that meant like every game we're losing by 40 on the routine, right? And yet I see photos of me with those football players, and I have just the goofiest, geekiest smile in the world. And those guys were special to me because they were Baylor Bears. We all grow out of being children, and we all end up valuing different things. And let's be clear, like the standard in 2002 or 2004 for Baylor football was quite different than it should be now. And I'm going to talk about that next. So hang with me if you think I'm being too sentimental and too sappy, okay? But for me, I think the philosophy that sticks is when you love a team, you love a school, you love a program, especially for those of us who then went to school there, graduated from there, met our best friends there, etc. If you chose to play for Baylor, stuck around through some adversity, and put your body on the line every day, every game, every practice, every workout for Baylor, like I'm rooting for you. That's just how I feel about it. There's a reason there are Baylor fans who would consider Jalen Petrie the greatest player in school history. Now, but to be clear, that's not the majority of Baylor fans, but I know Baylor fans would say, oh, Jalen Petrie. And it's not because he was a Thorpe Award finalist. Did he win that award? Sorry. My throat's clogging up as I'm talking. This is great. We're doing great. Thanksgiving, right? There's people who would consider Jalen Petrie the greatest in Baylor history, and it's not because of how elite of a player he is. It's because he was the one recruit that was committed to Baylor, and when the entire Briles scandal came out and he was fired, and that whole Briles staff coached that one weird year under Jim Grobe, and it was the most tense thing I've ever seen on a football sideline. There was one recruit who held his commitment to Baylor, and it was Jalen Petrie. And the name across the front of the jersey for him was so important, he stuck with it, okay? These seniors have done the same. And surely a guy like Josh Cameron, who I know is like a faithful Christian guy, positive guy, by all accounts, like the best human you'll meet, surely he has late night thoughts like any of us would. What if I had gone to A&M? Right? What if I had gone to Texas? What if I had just jumped ship? And what if I was playing at Alabama right now? Surely he's thinking about that, at least on occasion, right? He's human. All of us would. But all those guys stuck with Baylor, and I anticipate all those guys are going to come out today, and despite having totally failing to reach the loftiest goals this team had for itself, I suspect all those guys are going to come out and play hard today and try to reach a bowl game in kind of crappy weather, despite the fact that, like, Josh Cameron's going to be a 4th-round draft pick. Sawyer Robertson could be a 3rd or 4th-round draft pick. Michael Trigg could be a 1st-round draft pick. I know he's questionable today, but, you know, Ashton Hawkins is trying to get drafted. Jackie Marshall wants to get drafted. I think all those guys are gonna play hard today, and it's for Baylor. So, you know, I've waxed poetic about this long enough. If you're in town, if you have season tickets, if for whatever reason you're watching this and it's like, I'm going to watch the weather, I don't know, just come out to the game. Just come out. And if you enter the stadium, get an overpriced bucket of popcorn, cheer for the seniors before the game, and then leave in the first quarter, I don't care. That's, honestly, Pearson, that might be my game plan. Let's just be real about it. Like, depending on how things go in that first quarter, that might be what I do today. But yeah, these guys deserve our support. And I've seen some really negative comments this week of people, no, they don't, or we shouldn't support losing, brother, for the third and final time, give me a commercial break, and I'm going to get into waxing poetic about why we shouldn't support losing and why we're underperforming a standard and why Willie Fritz is everything Baylor should be looking for in a head coach. And it might make some the different side of this conversation angry that I'm talking like that. But, man, these at the end of the day, I know these kids get paid. I know we want to win. I know we have standards and hopes. No one has higher hopes than these kids do, and they're still kids. Like, I would hope if I was 20, 21, 22, and I'd spent 4 or 5 years of my life, breaking down my body and fighting and competing, for a place that is special to all of us, that you would think I was worthy of your support, even if, all those other things are true. So, okay. Let's do this, Kevin. Let's take our first break. When we come back, this Houston and Baylor game presents a direct comparison of what a winning standard looks like and what a questionable standard looks like. We're going to get into some numbers and talk about Willie Fritz and Dave Aranda coming up next. Thanks for joining us on Green and Gold Game Day.
Nation rolls along with Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Start with award-winning service and factory-trained techs. Then shop our new and used lineup from cars, trucks to SUVs, all makes and models. Running a business? We're your Central Texas headquarters for ProMaster vans, cabin chassis, and work trucks. For power and comfort, test drive the Ram 1500, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year winner again. Alan Samuels in Waco, proud partner of Baylor Athletics.
Come by, let's be friends.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
At GameFinfo Waco, we believe fun is more fun outside. We also believe fun is more fun in the pool, by the water park, at your RV, in a cabin, and with the friends and family you love the most. So grab a drink, take a ride, and stay a while. We think you'll discover that fun is more fun outside, too.
Welcome back, 365 Sports, Green and Gold Game Day. My name is Scotty Swingler here with a full crew of friends in the room. Matt Mosley and Faith Lynch coming up at the top of the hour. We'll also be on KWTX at the top of the hour. So if you're here in Central Texas, you can join us on Channel 10, and we'd love to see you there. I should acknowledge, I spent way too long just praising these seniors. I should go ahead and acknowledge Baylor's got some finalists for some national awards, and I think Trigg has a pretty good chance here of winning it. So Michael Trigg, the finalist, one of 3 finalists for the Mackey Award that goes to the nation's top tight end. He is 3rd in the nation in catches, 3rd in the nation in touchdowns, 2nd in the nation in receiving yards amongst tight ends. He is questionable today. Last I saw, I don't know if there's been an update to that, but I would hope he can play just because, I think if he puts in a decent performance today, scores a touchdown, he's got a really good shot to win this award. The other finalists are Oregon's Kenyon Sadiq, who leads the nation in touchdowns, and Eli Stowers. Vanderbilt leads the nation tight ends in yards, but only 11 more than Trigg. So, Trigg statistically has had the best year of any Baylor tight end in history. Baylor's never really had a prolific tight end. I thought Ben Sims. Ben Simmons. That's the basketball player. What a bad misfire in my brain on that one. Nobody wants that guy on their team. But Ben Sims, I thought was outstanding for Baylor a few years back. But Trigg is doing other stuff. So he's a finalist for the Mackey Award. And then Palmer Williams announced as a finalist for the Ray Guy Award. Of course, Baylor's had multiple finalists for the Ray Guy Award. And famously, Daniel Sepulveda won it twice. He was the first 2-time winner of the award, back on those crappy Baylor teams I loved when I was a kid that I was talking about a little bit ago. So I was a little surprised, to be honest with you, that Palmer was named a finalist. I think it tells you a lot about how he is respected throughout college football as one of the best punters in the country, because last year, he had 43 punts and averaged 49.3 yards with a long of 79 and 5 touchbacks. This year, from 43 to 25 total punts, and I knew that. I was like, we don't ever punt. How's that guy a finalist? He's only punted 25 times, and he's averaging 46.8, which, that's not a slouch, but it's 3 yards less than last season, and only 1 touchback this year as opposed to 5 last year. So I was a little surprised, but Palmer Williams getting some love too, and he'll be at those national awards as a Ray Guy finalist. So despite a rough year for Baylor, some individual recognition coming. Congrats to Trigg and Williams. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. There's a lot that's interesting about this Houston-Baylor matchup, right? We could talk about the old Southwest Conference rivalry. We could talk about what Baylor's program has looked like over the past 2-3 decades, having gotten into the Big 12, won the Big 12 3 times, et cetera, versus Houston, who did not get into the Big 12 out of the SWC, but has dominated most of their history at the Group of 5 level, whether it was when Art Briles was coaching there, Kevin Sumlin. They've put multiple great quarterbacks in the NFL during that time and have had this phenomenally successful football program at the lower level. And then they get brought into the Big 12. And, not only was it a slightly rough transition coming up to the big leagues, but also Dana Holgerson did not turn out to be a terrific head coach there, which I know surprised a lot of people. But they were coming off some down seasons. And in walks Willie Fritz. And, man, I'm going to try to do this segment without getting too much in my feels about some decisions Baylor made a week ago. But here's Willie Fritz's resume. Prior to him getting a job in a Power 4 conference, he started as a head coach at Blinn, right? Just down the road. And within 4 years, he had won 2 junior college national championships at Blinn. So he goes to Central Missouri. I don't even know where that is. They're the Mules, Central Missouri Mules. Anybody here? Fans? No Mules fans in the house today, okay?
The state animal is the mule of Missouri.
Is it?
Yep.
Kevin Hall, producer in the back. I didn't know that. It's kind of a boring state animal. What is
Show me state. Show me a mule, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Okay. I'll take your word for it, Kevin. From 1997 to 2009, he was the head coach at Central Missouri. And in that time, he only had 2 losing seasons. And both those losing seasons, he was 5-6. Winning. So he takes over a decent Sam Houston State program down there in Huntsville. He's at Sam Houston State from 2010 to 2013. And in those 4 seasons, he just casually makes the national championship game twice. My friend Brian Bell was the quarterback for those teams, by the way. Go Cougars. He goes to Georgia Southern for 2 seasons, goes 9-3 and 8-4. Then he gets hired at Tulane. And friends, battles to get Tulane to be a winning program, has a few winning seasons in a row, and it all culminates in 2022 with a 12-2 Tulane team defeating USC in the Cotton Bowl and finishing number 9. He gets hired at Houston, and after a slow start last year, what's Houston doing this year? Well, they're 8-3. So worst case scenario, they lose to Baylor today. They're 8-4 after a 4-8 season. I'd call that a success. If I were to pick the game today, which I guess I might later, Houston's going to be 9-3. And for the better part of this football season, we're in the conversation in a very real way to play for a Big 12 championship. Here's what I want to note. I think we have a misconception in our society about prestige or about making a splash or about success, where like if you had told a Baylor fan at any given point in the last 10 years, hey, you know who's a really great coach? That guy at Tulane who used to be at Sam Houston State. I think a lot of Baylor fans would go, I turn their nose up a little bit. That's a little beneath us. Which is foolish, by the way, because Indiana, Kevin's about to love me back there, Indiana fan himself. Indiana hired a dude from James Madison, and I might pick them to win the national championship here in a week. Really and truly. By the way, Baylor's best coaching hire in the last decade was a guy who had never coached higher than Temple. And Baylor's best hire prior to that was a guy who was the head coach at Houston when Houston wasn't a Big 12 team. They were still the, group team, right? So, but I don't think Willie Fritz is a guy Baylor or Baylor fans would have been just gung-ho to hire in the last few years. And what is he doing at Houston? He's winning. Program builders can do it at any level. I truly believe this, and I know there are cases where this is not true. But the other guy I would point at and say, there's a program builder, and watch what he's doing. And I know there's money involved. I don't care. Joey McGuire built consistent winners at the Texas high school football level, spent a few years kind of getting his apprenticeship under Matt Rule as a college coach, and he's now built a winner at Texas Tech. If you can build a program and a winning culture, you can do it anywhere. And I'm starting to think, if you can't, you can't. And I want to show you some data. And I don't mean to just rub in the Dave Aranda thing. We're like 8 days past the announcement now that Dave Aranda is going to stay on as Baylor's head coach into this next year. I've softened on that since 8 days ago. I understand why Baylor is doing it. I understand why you're mad if they're doing it, but I understand why Baylor's doing it. I understand why maybe they felt like they needed to, had to. I don't like it. I get it. But I want to show you some numbers that just kind of, I think, double down on this idea that the real questions about Dave Aranda's ability to build a winning program are really valid. Kevin, let's throw up these graphics real quick. So here's the first chart. This is Baylor football's win percentage under Dave Aranda. And if you were to draw a trend line through that, it would be flat. The trend line would be flat. There's no real regression here. So I don't want to be like, there's part of me this season that's like, Dave Aranda's taking our football program into the tank. Like, you can't definitively say that, but it's not been elevated either. This is a flat trend line. This is who Coach Dave Aranda has been here. I think even more compelling, though, and speaking very strongly to Baylor fans' frustrations, are what happened when you put this trend line in the context of what Baylor's been through since 2000. Kevin, throw up that next graphic for me. Okay. Look at the dramatic swings after the Briles scandal, right? So I want to put this in context. We're starting with Kevin Steele and Guy Morris. I am not accusing Dave Aranda of being Kevin Steele and Guy Morris, despite the fact that I've said some things that might imply that this football season, okay? But that Kevin Steele and Guy Morris, like, you can just see, that's a bad football program. You're averaging about 3-4 wins a season there. Nobody wants to be down that low on the chart. By the way, see that little spike in the Guy Morris? China Spring Cougar, Sean Bell was the quarterback of that team. Okay, there's my Scotty aside. But look at the trajectory of the next three guys. Briles, up. Like, that is an awesome representation of what, just football-wise, right, that guy did for that program. Straight up. We love it. Then there's a really dramatic fall off to that one-win Matt Rule season, right? That's the bottom of the chart. We'll just call that post-scandal blues. We got that 2-season drop-off. But then look at the Matt Rule trajectory, right? And I know saying trajectory when he was only here 3 seasons might be a bit much for some folks, but straight up, right? Straight up. By the way, I've argued and probably will continue to argue that highest little bullet point there that's technically under the Aranda timeline, that is a result of the trajectory you see under Matt Rule. Straight up. Kind of pinnacle moment being that 2021 championship with Dave Aranda. And then what happens? Matt Rule's recruits leave. Joey McGuire leaves. And we go down and up, and we're down again. But I want you to look at this roller coaster ride Baylor fans have been on since 2017. High highs and low lows. That is how you agitate a fan base, y'all. That is how you have a fan base that's not just agitated, but I might even use the word, I don't mean to over psychoanalyze like groupthink here, but I might even use the word like insecure. Like, what are we going to get on the football field this year? 12 wins? 2 wins? Who knows? Dave Aranda's our head coach. We've done both. Right? And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good that Phil Steele picked Baylor to win the Big 12 in 2025, and we're about to finish with 5 wins. So you can see here why Baylor fans feel unstable, over it, exhausted, ready to quit. You can see it. And it's the opposite of what an Art Briles was. It's the opposite of what Matt Rule was here. It's the opposite of what Willie Fritz is. It's the opposite of what Kurt Signetti is. There's no growth on the back half of this chart. There's no trajectory. It's just pendulum. Okay. So when I made these charts midweek, guys, I published these on X. I thought this really illustrated, hey, Dave Aranda's struggling. Here's why everybody's frustrated. Look how wild this is. And someone replied, and said, why don't you compare each coach's over-unders, like each season, how they did versus the over-under. Now, I need to admit to you, I realized the day after I published this next chart, there's one minor error. I'm not going to acknowledge it, but if you catch it at home, there is a minor error on this chart, but it is not a major error. The primary points still stand when you look at these over-unders, and I want you to look at this. Okay. Here are Baylor's wins under. Can you take off that bottom bar for me, Kevin? I know that's, there we go. Here are Baylor's wins versus the Vegas preseason over-under year over year. And I want you to see something. Bryles was 5-0 against the over-under. He went over every year. Bet the over if Art Bryles is your coach. By the way, Eastern New Mexico next season. I don't know that Vegas puts lines up for Eastern New Mexico. Bet the over. Just bet the over. You'll win some money, okay? Matt Rule. First season was bad. We all know this, right? But next 2 seasons went over. Obviously, year 3, significantly over. Bet the over. So Bryles and Rule went 7-1. As far as seasons, they went over versus seasons they went under. Dave Aranda is 2-4. Even if Baylor wins today and wins a bowl game. I'm going to say that again. Even if Baylor football wins today and then wins their bowl game, they will still hit under. That really messed up my parlay, Pearson. I had North Carolina under, Indiana over, and those are both hitting. But I also had Baylor over. That was not good. That was not wise. What have I learned the hard way, and what can you learn by looking at this chart? If Dave Aranda's your head coach, bet the under. And here's why that's significant. Here's why this is significant. Because you could make an argument that fans are too emotional, fans have too high expectations for their own team, and we were all just like over-exaggerating how good Baylor is, and we're all just dreaming, and we don't know what we're talking about. And so we should give Dave Aranda some grace because we don't know. You know who doesn't give a rip about our hopes and dreams or feelings? Las Vegas. They are in it to make money. They are in it to get that number as accurate as possible. And Art Bryles and Matt Rule overperformed not the Baylor standard, but the Las Vegas money standard. Dave Aranda consistently underperforms the money standard. Guys, it's that simple. And obviously, you can take that chart down, Kevin. Thank you. Obviously, I'm not calling for his job at this point. He's coming back. I hope Baylor goes undefeated next year and wins the Natty, and Dave Aranda gets a statue. That's not hyperbole or exaggeration. I want that for my school, and I like the person, just like all of us do. But here's the difference. There are coaches who build winning culture, who consistently overperform the standard. And so far, and by the way, 6 seasons is a good length of time to evaluate this. So far, Dave Aranda seems incapable of doing so. By the Vegas numbers, in comparison to other Baylor coaches, and otherwise. I am really fascinated to see how these teams come out and play today, how well they're coached, because I have a strong suspicion the more disciplined football team and the more ready to play football team will not be wearing green and gold today. I have a strong suspicion it will be that winning culture underneath Blinn College and Sam Houston State's own Willie Fritz. And Baylor should consider that when evaluating next football season and what they want to do moving forward. It is time for another break. When we come back, 2 weeks ago, I started a new segment that I should have been doing all season, Kevin. This is why I need a producer. I don't need to be the producer and the host. It's called Scotty Swingler's Swing Statistics. And in both weeks, the last 2, I told you the stats that would determine the outcome of the game, and not the score, by the way. Don't the scoreboard. Don't be sarcastic about this. This is real stuff. And I got him right the last 2 weeks. And I think I've got him right again today. I've got some really interesting insight on the statistics that will decide whether Baylor wins or loses today. We'll be back after this break.
Cole Posey, and I'm a third-generation Baylor Bear. During my time playing baseball at Baylor, I started a hat company called Hondo, which started as meek and humble beginnings, has quickly grown into something more. Over 40,000 hats sold, and then over 100 retail locations nationwide. I love vintage Western hats, but couldn't stand the condition they came in, so I decided to make my own. Vintage style, but with modern aesthetics. Thank you so much for making my dream come true, and for enabling what was once a dream to become a reality. God bless.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Everyone, hello. Guys, welcome back to Dear Sports. I am so pumped to be back in the podcast world and filming season 2 of Dear Sports. On this podcast, you're going to find stories from former and current athletes about their journey through sports and the impact it has made in their life. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow our Instagram and Twitter to stay updated on all things Dear Sports.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Falconberry Construction is now Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath. Check out gathercoremodeling.com. Thanks so much for sponsoring Green and Gold Game Day.
At Camp Info Waco, we believe fun is more fun outside. We also believe fun is more fun in the pool, by the water park, at your RV, in a cabin, and with the friends and family you love the most. So grab a drink, take a ride, and stay a while. We think you'll discover that fun is more fun outside, too.
Welcome back, Green and Gold Game Day. We are almost wrapped up here with hour 1 at 9 o'clock. We'll have Faith Lynch, Matt Mosley. We'll be on KWTX. If you're here locally, you can turn on Channel 10. We'll have a great time with you over there. It is time for Scotty Swingler's Swing Statistics. Listen, I needed to start this week 1, and I only started doing it 2 weeks ago. And I'm 2-0. When I tell you the statistics that will determine the outcome of the game, I've been right 2 weeks in a row. And I did a lot of digging into the statistics here, and I think I've got the answer. So here's what we've said the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks against Utah, I gave 3 statistics that would determine the outcome of the game. I said Baylor needed to have within 70 yards rushing of Utah. It was not even close, right? I said Baylor needed to win the turnover battle. They lost the turnover battle. Sawyer Robertson, the easy one was, hey, Sawyer needs to have a passer rating over 75. He was under 75. Baylor went 0 for 3 in those statistics. Baylor lost. Last week, I had one statistic last week. I had one. I said red zone. Red zone will determine who wins this game last week, right? Not only did Arizona get into the red zone more often than Baylor, 5 times versus 3, Arizona got 20 points off those red zone trips last week. Baylor got 10. Obviously, there was a lot of other factors, especially late in that game. But again, red zone mattered. Baylor lost. Baylor lost the game. I've got 3 statistics for you today that are going to swing this game. And if Baylor's going to win, they need to win in these 3 ways. Number 1, and this won't surprise anyone, but I was still a little astonished by the difference in the numbers here. In Baylor's wins this season, opposing quarterbacks have rushed for 27.2 yards per game. Again, in Baylor's wins this season, 27.2 yards per game rushing for the quarterbacks. In Baylor's losses this season, opposing quarterbacks are averaging 84 rushing yards per game. Again, the difference, 27 to 84. Houston quarterback Connor Wegman averages 47.5, which is right in between those numbers. Baylor, just hold him to his average. Just hold him to his average, okay? I'm not even saying hold him to 27, like your average in your wins. I'm saying hold Connor Wegman to about 47-50 rushing yards today. Do not let him go for 113 like he did against TCU last week. And he's capable of that. Utah, 2 weeks ago, the last time Baylor was at home, it was the backup quarterback that ran wild, right? Hold Connor Wegman to his average rushing performance. That is the key statistic, number 1. Number 2, and these are all defensive emphasis, by the way, Pearson. I think Baylor's offense will be fine. Houston's defense is great, by the way, but Baylor's offense will score. These are all defensive stats. Okay, number 2. Hey, Baylor D, 2 picks. 2 picks. You need 2 interceptions. Baylor's turnover margin is bottom 5 in the country. And in Houston's 3 losses, they have thrown 2, 2, and 1 interception. 2, 2, and 1. You want to win today, Baylor? Go get 2 interceptions. By the way, Houston's only thrown 9 interceptions all season. So 5 of those coming in losses. 2 of those losses, it was 2 picks that did it for him. Baylor's defense needs to not just force turnovers, but specifically pick off Connor Wegman twice. So a lot of this, I mean, you're hearing I'm kind of drilling down on one thing. Don't let Connor Wegman run wild on you. Pick him off twice. If you do that, I think you win. If you don't do that, I don't think you win. I think Connor Wegman probably eats you alive. Here's the last one. I don't know if anyone else looked at this loss they had last week to TCU, which was shocking to me, right? I'm shocked. 17-14 final. I didn't watch the game. It's even more shocking when you open the stat sheet. Let me tell you all the ways that Houston won over TCU in that ball game. Houston won the turnover battle 4-1. I'm going to say that again. Houston lost last week, but they won the turnover battle 4-1. Houston won the time of possession last week against TCU. Houston won the penalty battle against TCU last week. TCU had twice as many penalty yardage. Houston was within 35 total offensive yards of TCU. It's not like TCU just absolutely crushed them, okay? Do you know what the difference was? Last week on 3rd down, Houston went 4 for 17. 4 for 17. TCU's defense was getting them off the field on 3rd down. So Baylor, you have to get off the field when you have a defensive 3rd down. It is backbreaking, right? And any of us who've played football know that. Those of us who've watched football enough know that. It is backbreaking to stuff a run on 1st down, maybe give up like a 3-yard bubble screen on 2nd down. It's 3rd and 7. The stadium gets loud. And then, oh my God, they completed another pass over the middle for 15. And now we get back ready for 1st, right? That is exhausting. Houston lost that game to TCU last week. Despite winning the turnover battle, winning the penalty battle, winning time of possession, having almost the same offensive yardage, they lost because they could not convert 3rd downs. And Houston, unlike Baylor, is not a team that's going to go for it every 4th down. So play well on early downs, get them off the field. So again, the 3 statistics that will swing this game, and I'm telling you, I'm going to be right again. If Weigman is under 50 yards rushing, if Weigman throws 2 interceptions, and if you can get off the field on third down, if their third down percentage, let's just pick a number, if they're under 50% on third down, if all 3 of those things happen, Baylor, congrats, you're going to go to a bowl game. If you let Weigman run wild on you, if you let Weigman pick you apart and don't force a turnover, and if you can't get off the field on third, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. So those are the swing statistics. And hey, here's a good opportunity to plug this. You say, Scotty, there might not be any more Green and Gold game day this year. How can we catch up with you? Hey, tomorrow night at 5:00, Terrence Ganaway and I will go live and we'll talk about it. We'll do it. It's called Please Bear With Me. Check it out. It's on YouTube. Andrew, we got some poll results. Let's look at these poll results for hour 1 here. I asked if you could bring back, and this doesn't surprise me, right? It's probably what I expected. Which senior would you most want to bring back for one more season? If you could bring back one more player, Sawyer Robertson, 54%. Not a surprise. A lot of question marks around that quarterback position for next season. That guy, you can say a lot of things about this football season for Baylor. I don't think you can accuse that guy of being a poor player or not being a key contributor to victory. So, yep, Josh Cameron, 18. Michael Trigg, I'm a little surprised Michael Trigg's at 17%. I think I expected Michael Trigg to be a little higher. Jackie Marshall, 11. Andrew, did we have any comments of any other seniors that weren't in the poll? Okay, no, he said. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. I'm going to tell you what my answer is, and it might surprise you. And I love, this is not an anti-Sawyer Robertson take because he's one of my favorite players we've had in a very long time. My answer would be Josh Cameron. It'd be Josh Cameron. And I'm biased because Faith and I kind of got to hang out with his mom, and she's pretty fantastic. And, he's not a quarterback, and that's the most important position on the field. But if you want a culture guy, and by the way, the one guy, despite that 2 fumble performance early in the season, the one guy that is going to be in the right place at the right time and make the play when he needs to, very few guys in Baylor history I have more confidence in than Josh Cameron. Very few. So thank you for participating in that. I got about 5 minutes, so we need to throw to break. I went too fast on my swing statistics, Kevin. I was so excited. That's okay. Matt Mosley's in the room laughing at me. By the way, Matt Mosley and Faith Lynch coming up at the top of the hour. Very excited about that. Baylor, Houston today. What's the weather like outside? Is it still raining? Messy. Not cold. We love that. Not rainy. So like I said at the top, if you missed my rant at 8 o'clock, been a bad year. We all know that. These seniors are awesome. And a lot of really good all-time Baylor football players on this team. You can show up if you're here locally, if you got season tickets, if you're an hour down the road and you don't know. I just heard it. You didn't hear it, I guess, because the microphone's probably not on. But I heard it from Faith Lynch, own mouth. Not cold, not wet. Get to the game. Get out there. And if you want to be like me, maybe you show up, you buy some popcorn, you cheer for the seniors. And if the game is bad in the first quarter, just go home. Go home and enjoy your Thanksgiving leftovers. Man, it's been a good morning. We're going to be on KWTX. We're going to have Please Bear With Me tomorrow night. Matt Mosley interviewed Art Briles the other day, if you need more content to consume. We won't get there today, but you can go check that out on YouTube, The Matt Mosley Show. By the way, we talked earlier about the standard for Baylor football, the standard Willie Fritz has implemented at Houston, the standard that's been allowed at Baylor football at various times. Matt asked Coach Briles, and I've asked Seth Russell this in an interview about 8 years ago. Hey, that 20, and this is what every Baylor fan will be talking about the rest of our lives. Pearson and I are like, we're going to be talking about this when we're 80 years old. Hey, that 2015 team. Hey, if Seth Russell doesn't get hurt, that 2015, and Coach Briles' answer, he literally said, well, you hate to say this, but there were certain games we were unbeatable. And not a lot of coaches will say that. We were unbeatable. That dude was like, we were unbeatable. And that's what we all saw. I would love to get back to that. Houston in town today. I already did my rant about China Spring Cougars. I lived in Houston for almost 4 years. It's a great place. It's the best food in the state. I did not believe that until I lived there. And I miss being able to drive 15 minutes and get ramen from like first generation immigrants or sushi, or they had the best Greek food in the state. I've been to Greece, so that's a big deal to me. I want good Greek food. Nico Nico's. Faith, you ever been to Nico Nico's? She's nodding. Yes, Nico Nico's. Anyway, yeah, that's right. That's right. So yeah, we love Houston, but we hate when Baylor loses. We're rooting for a big win today. Again, swing statistics, if you missed that a second ago. Baylor needs to hold Connor Wegman to his rushing average. They've given up 27 yards per game to quarterbacks, rushing in wins, 84 per game in losses. Houston lost 3 games by throwing interceptions, 2-2-1. And Houston went 4 for 17 on third down last week. It is the only statistic where they were worse than TCU and they lost that football game. You got to get off the field on third down. This is about going to do it for me in hour 1. When we come back, we're going to have Faith Lynch, Matt Mosley, hour and a half more of content. We'll have the voice of the Houston Cougars preview the opponent. Faith and Matt will have their excellent analysis and insight as always. I really appreciate you joining us, not just today, but all season long. I appreciate your support. If you want more Baylor football content, I really don't think there's a better place to be than 365 Sports and Rogue Media. You can check out the Pete Souza Show, Matt Mosley Show, Green and Gold Game Day, obviously this show. Please bear with me. That's Terrence Ganaway and I. We would love for you to join us. We talk Baylor football, Baylor basketball, all season long on all those programs. We love the Bears. That's why you should show up and cheer for the seniors. It's why we should be rooting for a win today, right? And it's why we should say sick 'em Bears. We'll be right back. This is Green and Gold Game Day. So bad getting into those
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball. .365 Sports.
Welcome into the 365 Sports Green and Gold Game Day Show. Thank you for starting your morning with us. Hello to KWTX. If you are coming from YouTube, I'm sure you enjoyed talking to Scotty this morning. I'm Faith Lynch here with Matt Mosley. We have Baylor versus Houston, last home game of the season. Could be Baylor's last game today. If they don't win, make a bowl game. We'll stick around and see. We're going to break it all down for you this morning. Matt, thanks for being here this morning.
Good to be with you.
I'm excited you're here.
Yes, you seem surprised. I did make it back after Thanksgiving. Lots of eating involved and a few more pounds. Surely no one can tell. Let's not come in too quick on that shot. A little close for my taste. But great to so they're listening. Thank you, Kev. No, this should have been an even more interesting day than it is, because I think we sort of thought this might be a time making a decision on a head coach. That decision was made before last week's game for different reasons, and we've heard from President Livingstone this week as to some of those reasons, and we can speak to some of that. But this is a day that hopefully we can make this about some of these seniors.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to see them play. And then, sort of excited to get one more. I didn't know how I would feel today. Do we want the season to end? And the truth is we never do, and it'd be fun to watch Sawyer play. And maybe if it helps Sawyer's draft stock to get like a decent bowl game, it will not be a great bowl game.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be at TCU Stadium again. I think we've created maybe some parameters around that. So I'm hoping that won't happen again. But this is a good opportunity for these players. And I can't help but think about kind of what could have been. This seemed like a season that had so much hope. The schedule set up pretty well. You're able to avoid a couple of teams, i.e. Texas Tech being one of those teams. And they've had opportunities this year. I'll be interested to see if they decide to come out and really give it their all. I think the seniors will. I don't know how much of the rest of the team, like how big a deal this is. And the problem is Houston is good.
Yeah.
And Houston, as we'll talk about today, does things that Baylor does not like, which is control the clock, run the football, have a quarterback who's mobile. I mean, what year could you have possibly run into more like teams that do whatever you're horrible at, and it's just like, okay, yeah, they're good. They're good. I heard a guy, I was listening to one of those Locked On podcasts today, and they were talking about Bird Ficklin, the guy from Utah that ran all over Baylor. And they said, well, Bird Ficklin is now the starting quarterback for Utah. He's not. It might have felt like it that game because he had 6 carries for about 166 yards. But it's just every quarterback tends to have a tremendous amount of success against the Bears. And that needs to stop today. And Connor Wigman is no great shakes when it comes to throwing the football, but he can move.
Yes.
He's been somewhat effective this year. And honestly, if their field goal kicker, who, by the way, was a Lou Groza, he was in the running for big awards. He missed a 38-yarder last week that would have tied that game, sent it into overtime against TCU. So they're coming off a really, really tough loss. and we'll see how they respond. And again, it's kind of like a bowl game in a sense. I mean, Baylor has, in some weird ways, more to play for. Houston is already in the bowl.
Yep.
One other issue is that Houston's really good on the road, and that's just been their thing. They seem to perform, even going back to last year, better on the road than they do at their place. And I don't know what to read into that or make of it, but the Bears need to come out. I believe, aren't there some new helmets? I feel like, do we have the kind of helmet
I don't know if
they're
it's new,
using
but
today?
they're bringing back the chrome.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry if I've misrepresented that faith.
Well,
but
I don't want to get people excited that we had a new chrome.
A new look.
New this season.
Yeah.
I think it's the green jersey with the gold chrome, which is kind of an interesting combo, but we'll see.
That you don't care for.
It doesn't match.
The green
jersey has yellow on it, and we're gonna wear chrome helmets. I feel like this was I think seniors picked this one. I think if I had to understand what's going on here, they let the seniors decide what they want to wear maybe for their last game.
I got you. The seniors.
And Sawyer Robertson, maybe his dress attire is not color combo is not maybe there, but
did you choose to run with the Baylor line in your last?
We tried to my senior year. We tried to get there in time to run the line as seniors, but we ended up not making it. I was scared I was going to get hurt. I was going to get trampled. I didn't want to, show up to practice of, hey, Coach Mack, I rolled my ankle running the line. I'm going to be out for a week. I didn't want to. I trusted myself to be athletic enough to run. Yeah. I didn't trust everyone else around me to run in a great manner.
To get trampled.
Yeah, I didn't want to get trampled. Not a good look for 5'6" volleyball player to be face down on turf in McLean Stadium. But
when I was in the Baylor line, and that was not an option. You didn't get to come back and run. I think part of this is this weekend's tough to get students back in time. And so let's pad the numbers just a little bit. Get more folks out there.
Yeah, I hope some seniors will come back just to run the line. I think some will. I hope. I don't know. It was supposed to be storming this morning and raining. It was supposed to be kind of cold. It's really not that bad. So we'll see. I think the rain's kind of disappeared until 2 or 3. Are you
saying Scotty had the forecast wrong? I mean, I don't
think he had it wrong.
Scotty had really been big on there was rain and there would be a lot of thrashing of
It's Texas. You can never be sure.
Yeah.
If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. It'll probably change.
I've heard that. I like that. Yeah. No, it could be. I was sprinkling on me when I came to the studios. I like being on the scene. I like being next to the stadium and all that, but I also love these cozy studios, AWTX.
Oh, yeah.
How fun is that?
It's so fun.
To be on there and everybody waking up, having their breakfast this morning after the holiday with Mosley and Lynch, two people connected by family members that go back generations. So, this is going to be a fun day. I'm wondering what the crowd, and we can slide right in here to Mosley's mind if we.
Well, you talked about like tradition and some things of we can launch our first hour fan poll. Do you view Houston versus Baylor as a rivalry? That's just I forgot that Houston was in the Southwest Conference because I was not alive during the Southwest Conference. Sorry to age you, Matt, but Southwest Conference, kind of Texas team. Not really. No way. All my hatred is reserved for the Frogs. I think they thrown some faith spark into some of these answers, I think. But make sure you interact with our poll. Let us know what you think, and Matt and I will then give our answers once we get some of the results back.
Okay, and I'm excited after we do Mosley's Mind to get some faith in the field.
Oh, yeah. I think you're going to like today's piece.
Is there any teas or anything you can point to? Or is it
stays true to my name today. Stays true to the name. Faith on the field.
Oh, okay.
I thought for the last one, stay true to the title.
Okay. Well, faith will truly be in the field. Now, so the Houston rivalry, what people forget is they are mad too. They are mad just like TCU was. Boy, by the way, thank you, Brazos Landing. Occasionally, I'll slip my glasses on. I left my glasses across the studio.
I thought
there.
it was getting real serious.
No, I was going to get serious, but thank you. The Brazos Landing, the Bang Bang Shrimp, the Chicken Fried Steak, the BLT. What a beautiful sandwich that is. Right over there at the Brazos Landing. Love being with them, and we'll be with them soon as we start getting ready for basketball season. Yeah.
They are hosting the Baylor volleyball team for the selection show on Sunday. How cool is that?
Yes, big win on the road against TCU Horned Frogs, I noticed. And Coach McGuire and I did exchange pleasantries over the holidays, so I was excited to see that. Since this is a program we're kind of excited about. And by the way, soccer went all the way to the Sweet 16, and I think the dreaded Aggies and others tried to hire our coach, the great Michelle Leonard, and somebody over at Baylor. I don't know who's the AD, and we got interim ADs. Somebody protected the house, and Michelle Leonard will remain with the Baylor Bears. All right? I haven't had a look at that contract yet, but I understand lots of zeros. So good stuff there. Great to have Michelle Leonard. Now, the selection show for volleyball.
Yes.
What's been our best seeding ever? Do you know, in the program's history?
We were
because the Bears went to the Final Four one year.
2019. They were a 1 seed. They were because they hosted all the way up to Sweet 16, I believe.
Wait, could we host this year?
Probably not. Probably not.
Okay, Faith.
Probably not. Probably not. That's not a shock to anyone. It's not a shock.
Faith. I would love to host.
I would too. We got to host last year, which was a fun surprise, but probably not. I think it's looking like going to A&M or maybe up to Wisconsin is probably the 2 spots they may land. But we'll see. Anything can happen. So it's exciting, but so cool. This is the first time that Brazos Landing has hosted for the selection show on Sunday, which is really exciting. You can go, interact, be with the team, eat dinner there as well. So very exciting. But let's get a little bit to Mosley's mind.
Yeah, we've talked right through it. I mean, I in fact, I'm going to create some time later in the show to come back.
I think you should.
Expanded Mosley's mind. Oh, look at the graphic there. All right. I love that. I love seeing that. This is a rivalry, Faith, that it is to those of us that watch the SWC and remember those Houston teams of the late 80s and the 90s. Andre Ware wins a Heisman. David Klingler from Stratford High School in Houston has a chance at a Heisman. They put up monstrous numbers, and there was, quite honestly, never an offense like those Houston Cougars. And then before that, Bill Yeoman ran the Veer. And so my childhood memories are of Alfred Anderson and the Bears taking down Houston in torrential rains, 24-12. Alfred had this unbelievable way of going over the top, and he could take off from about the 2 or 3 yard line and do that. But Houston, to me, now they had an interesting thing. You know, we've got the claw. They have a cougar paw. Is that it, guys?
That's it. Yeah, good job.
Gang signs or anything, but tremendous stuff there. And I've always liked all the fight songs. Their fight songs sounded a little bit like Arkansas's to me. But what I started to get at earlier, we think of TCU as being the real angry, we're so mad at you because y'all had those great politicians. It's not our fault that great politicians graduated from Baylor, that Governor Ann and Bob Bullock, lieutenant governor at the time, represented the Bears well and got the Bears into the Big 12. Houston also had their feelings hurt. We never think about poor Houston and SMU and Rice. It's TCU that whined the most about not being in the Big 12, and Baylor shouldn't do it. We had more political capital at the time. But Houston kind of wandered around in the wilderness forever. I think people will still debate, hey, should the Big 12 have brought SMU, or was the U of H the right choice? I think those are interesting thoughts. But U of H had a very interesting history, and their history is rooted in offense. And it was the veer, and then it was the run and shoot, which came from Mouse Davis, passed down to Pardee, and then it was John Jenkins, who was also known for doing some really strange stuff in meetings, film room meetings, some of the things that he would splice up there and put on during the video sessions, Faith, not something that Coach McGuire would have ever done. So anyway, more on this to come, because obviously I can talk about this for days, but it is time for Faith in the Field next.
Nation rolls along with Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Start with award-winning service and factory-trained techs. Then shop our new and used lineup from cars, trucks to SUVs, all makes and models. Running a business? We're your Central Texas headquarters for ProMaster vans, cabin chassis, and work trucks. For power and comfort, test drive the Ram 1500, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year winner again. Alan Samuels in Waco, proud partner of Baylor Athletics.
Come by, let's be friends.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
At GameFinfo Waco, we believe fun is more fun outside. We also believe fun is more fun in the pool, by the water park, at your RV, in a cabin, and with the friends and family you love the most. So grab a drink, take a ride, and stay a while. We think you'll discover that fun is more fun outside, too.
Game day. Getting you ready for kickoff. Bears and the Cougs. Getting it on at 11 a.m. The thing will start, and by about 2 or 3 o'clock, we'll know if the Bears are going to a bowl game. Are we going bowling? Will we take the show on the road? The answer, I believe, is yes. We will follow the Bears no matter where they go across this great America. All right, Faith, it is time for something we always get excited about. It is Faith in the Field, and this is when Faith really takes over. And I do want to thank Hondo Hat Company. Thank you, Hondo Hat Company. Thank you for your flat bills. Thank you for the look you have, and a lot of folks like that. And a Baylor pitcher, a former Baylor pitcher, Baylor baseball player, is the brains behind some of those designs. But very nice job. We have enjoyed having the Hondo Hat Company with us all season. Go check that out. And really good, some good script on those things. All right, it is time for Faith in the Field, our own Faith Lynch. Here we go.
Having your name be Faith, sometimes people think that only thing you ever want to talk about is Jesus. I feel like sometimes it's hard to put my name in a, faith in the field or faith on the field. And it's sometimes that's It's my name. It's just my name, not anything else. But I do hope that people have not missed what has gone on in the Baylor football program this year. Obviously, being a former Baylor athlete myself, I had a little bit more of a lens into that of being an FCA with some of these guys and some of the programs and Bible studies and things that they were wanting to do off the field, which I thought was really cool. But with everything going on this season, losing an AD, Aranda being on the hot seat, staying here, I think one common theme that we've been able to see through Baylor football social media, but also some of these guys' social medias, is they're growing in Christ. And so for Faith in the Field, I thought we'd actually talk about some of these guys' faith on the field. Carl Williams gave a devotional on Baylor football's Instagram about what he learned in Bible study that week. I remember my junior year going to FCA and sitting with Michael Allen and Sawyer and Kyler Jordan and some of these guys, and they're like, we really need to start a team Bible study. You know, we think it'd be really great for our team, and just really encouraging them, praying over these guys that they felt encouraged to go and start this Bible study and minister to some of these guys, because it really is bigger than sports. And Baylor, obviously, that's our whole brand. Something that we're a proud Christian university always. And it's been really sweet to see these guys start the team Bible study and it do so well. I know Jonathan McCluda at Harris Creek, he was a very integral part of leading some of these guys in the Better Man study that he has created. Monterey Baldwin came back last week to get baptized by Sawyer Robertson, which I just think is really, really sweet. He is obviously playing in the pros, doing his thing, living his dream, but he came back to Baylor a year later where his faith journey started to get baptized. Sawyer Robertson did a podcast with Robert Griffin and what his faith means to him. Matthew Klopp shared what he learned in Bible study, what baptism means and what the principle of that is. And then on November 5th, 10 guys were baptized by Michael Allen, Kylan Reed, Walker White, and Jacob Redding, Sawyer Robertson. So I just hope people have not missed what has gone on in the Baylor football program off of the field this year and developing men of character and men of faith. So then once they are done playing football, a lot of seniors might be done today. They are great men and have a faith background and are able to go into the world and be successful. So I really hope people have not missed of what Baylor football is doing from a mission standpoint to some of these guys.
Man, nice. And it's kind of cool to, yeah, you're right. You had crossover with some of these seniors and y'all were at these same. FCA was something when I played in high school. FCA was, I know this will shock most of our audience, but I was president of the FCA at one point, Kaufman High School. All right. And it shows you kind of what our standards were. But it's a very important thing. And other people have been involved in Young Life and all those kinds of things. But Baylor, you do sometimes need to kind of step back away from coaching carousel, hot seat, scandal that, we've talked, all the stuff we talked about all season and go, okay, what is Baylor's mission? And sometimes I hear, and it sounds so trite to me, I had never heard this term when they would talk about like coaches or a search, and they'd be like, we have to find the right mission fit. And sometimes to me, that feels like just all talk.
For sure.
What I like hearing is behind the scenes, and I don't think Sawyer and some of the people you mentioned, and you obviously, were doing any of that in fact, I don't even think they probably love that it gets right out on, social media, but it's fine. It's fine for other people to know what's going on, and good for Sawyer Robertson.
Yeah, behind the scenes look. I think it's important people know that is what's being fed to those guys off the field, and they're wanting to create a culture regardless of the outside noise and what's going on. But little insight into Baylor football.
All right, thank you, Faith. It is time for Big 12 Wraparound. That is next.
Posey, and I'm a third-generation Baylor Bear. During my time playing baseball at Baylor, I started a hat company called Hondo, which started as meek and humble beginnings, has quickly grown into something more. Over 40,000 hats sold, and then over 100 retail locations nationwide. I love vintage Western hats, but couldn't stand the condition they came in, so I decided to make my own. Vintage style, but with modern aesthetics. Thank you so much for making my dream come true, and for enabling what was once a dream to become a reality. God bless.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
Everyone, hello. Guys, welcome back to Dear Sports. I am so pumped to be back in the podcast world and filming season 2 of Dear Sports. On this podcast, you're going to find stories from former and current athletes about their journey through sports and the impact it has made in their life. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow our Instagram and Twitter to stay updated on all things Dear Sports.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Falconberry Construction is now Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath. Check out GatherCoRemodeling.com. Thanks so much for sponsoring Green and Gold Game Day.
At Camfinfo Waco, we believe fun is more fun outside. We also believe fun is more fun in the pool, by the water park, at your RV, in a cabin, and with the friends and family you love the most. So grab a drink, take a ride, and stay a while. We think you'll discover that fun is more fun outside, too.
It is Green and Gold Game Day. We are getting closer to kickoff. Baylor and the University of Houston. Faith Lynch alongside. And Faith, I want you to get us started on Big 12 wraparound. We've already had some games, obviously, last night, yesterday, and then today, a slate of games, including our own, right out here at 11 a.m. And by the way, thank you, KWTX. Great to have you. And I love these morning games because that means we get to be live on KWTX. So they get to see these shades. I'll take them off briefly here. But great. That's fun. It's fun doing that. And we love our YouTube audience and all the and our folks on KWTX can sign up for the Green and Gold Game Day YouTube experience. And then you can ask us things. You can comment. You can take
our poll.
Oh, the poll is just, yes. How is that going?
Good. I think we'll check in with those soon.
Good.
But I can kick us off with Big 12 wraparound. Utah versus Kansas. Final score 31-21. Jalen Daniels threw 3 interceptions. I feel like it was a game up until third quarter. I feel like they were in it, and I was like, okay, let's see. Kansas may get one, but I feel like those 3 interceptions really just. You can't win a game having 3 interceptions.
No, it's tough. Although I think the Bears did it last year against U of H. Bears won 20-10, and Sawyer during that unbelievable run actually had a rough game, and they were picking him off. And that was the Michael Trigg breakout where he kind of carried the team that day. And we'll hope on Senior Day, Michael Trigg, I think the quarterback you mentioned from Kansas, has had 3 different senior days. He's been there a long time. And Utah, as you said, wins that thing 31-21. It was close. They were up, and then Utah finally got past them and moved on about their business. And we do have the BYU and Texas Tech are now, it is official because of some of the things that happened last night, that they will play. So no matter what happens with Tech at West Virginia, and I don't think that's going to be a situation where they go and like rest a bunch of starters or anything, but it would not, because they obviously have a chance now with A&M losing to perhaps jump up in that first four, the bye, and bring it up A&M. That's
okay?
I'm doing fine. I know I have a family member that's not doing as well today and has been upset and was ready to turn the page last night, play some board games or kind of move on there. But the Longhorns did get it done in Austin, 27-17, and that's why when it comes to, I bring up the lines and all these things and gambling and all, you cannot on these huge rivalry games. It's really hard to get a read on this thing. And the Aggies in that second half, they've been a second half team a lot of the time against LSU, against South Carolina, against Notre Dame. They've played really well in the second half, and they did not get it done.
They did not.
Yeah.
I love a good storyline, and so part of me is kind of excited for Arch Manning just because he's just had a rough season. I feel like in the media, just everyone's like, oh, we wish he could be better, and his last name is Manning, so it doesn't work if he's not playing well. But I was excited for him. You could see the joy in his face after the win, the relief. So that was kind of fun. But again, speaking of rivalry games, Arizona State, which that made the BYU Texas Tech game for the Big 12 championship official. Arizona winning 23-7 at Arizona, correct?
That game was, I believe, at Arizona State, but it was Arizona took care of business, and Fafita he really has emerged late in the season. They put it on Baylor. They were 7-3 going in that game, so now they get to 9 wins, and the Arizona State it was tough. You got to give them the fact that they have done this without their quarterback late, and their quarterback may end up transferring. That'll be a big story in the offseason. But Jeff Sims steps in for Arizona State, and though I love that head coach, they could not quite get it done. I mean, give me Kenny Dillingham any day of the week, but they did not get the job done in that game. Now the game's coming up today. And by the way, there were a couple more yesterday. Iowa just put a beat down on Matt Rule's Nebraska. Can you believe just weeks ago we were talking about, Penn State? Mm-hmm. I mean, again, Matt will have some great post-game stuff, as always, does a really good press conference. But then he gets into the season, and boy, Nebraska has gotten kicked around, and now their quarterback is thinking about transferring. Scotty loves it when I go into Mosley on the Big Ten on some of these pregame shows that we've done. Now, Colorado at Kansas State.
Yep.
And that's on FS1. That's 11 a.m. kickoff. And then Iowa State at Oklahoma State. That season for Oklahoma State will mercifully come to an end, but they have excitement there with Eric Morris being hired, and
have a new head coach.
Yeah, I think they have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see how they flip that program around and really change some things. I mean, to have a season like they did, it's hard to maybe flip some of that. But I think the Colorado K-State game, same situation that Baylor's in. They're fighting for bowl eligibility. K-State is. And then Colorado is just really trying to prepare for next year. And same situation as OSU of, hey, let's try to put some of these pieces back together. And I know Primetime, he did I saw it on Instagram, but he kind of prepares some of those guys to enter the portal. So that's kind of where Colorado is sitting right now. But I think that'll be an interesting game to see if K-State will make a bowl game.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, boy, they've had some – the coach was crying after last week's game against Utah. He was brought to tears. I mean, we can certainly sympathize with him for some of the things we've seen. But UCF at BYU, that's a noon kickoff over there on ESPN2. And then Cincinnati at the Horned Frogs. Cincinnati's a team leaking oil that had a nice, really had a bounce back, had a pretty nice season, and so that was good to see. So we'll see what TCU is able to do there at their place, because TCU had a big win over Houston just last week and kind of did it with defense. And though Houston ran the ball a bunch, they just couldn't find the end zone a lot.
No, I agree. Yeah, TCU coming off of a big win against Houston. It'll be interesting to see how Houston responds to Baylor this week. Again, you said they've been really good on the road, so it'll be interesting to see if that happens here.
Yeah. Okay. And, I think I think all these games, and then that BYU, we talked about it a little bit, the BYU and Texas Tech championship game. I mean, sometimes you don't really want to see another game of one that was that bad, but this gives BYU a do-over, and I think that's very, very important. All right, it is time now to go behind enemy lines. Kevin Eschenfelder joins us next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Welcome back, Green and Gold Game Day. We've got a whole network of good shows here, 365 Sports, Rogue Media, and this past week, Pete Souza, one of our own, got to interview the voice of the Houston Cougars, Kevin Eschenfelder. He also does some work for the Astros and the Rockets there in Houston, but gave us some fantastic insight, not only into this season for the Cougars, but also all the things that Willie Fritz has been doing to make sure that they are having an outstanding year. And if you're going to go behind enemy lines the way that we're doing today, you've got to get a source from the inside. So let's go ahead and throw it to Pete Souza and Kevin Eschenfelder.
About Kevin Eschenfelder and the Houston Cougars. Kevin, thank you so much, man, for taking the time this morning.
Happy to do it.
It's great to have you. You are all things Houston, Astros, Rockets, and now we look at it, especially the Cougars. And this has been a very special year for Houston football fans. I was fortunate enough to be there for the very first game, the non-con victory, the Thursday night win at home. And it was very clear, the people I talked to around the sport of college football, that they were certain that Willie Fritz was going to have a very solid year too, because one, he's an amazing coach, but two, that's what he does. Is this something that you foresaw coming into the season?
I looked at the schedule and I thought it was a very favorable schedule. I'm not going to say it was easy. I thought it was a favorable schedule. I thought it set up very nicely, and it has. At the same time, they've gone to Arizona State and won. I mean, I was a defending conference champion. But yeah, it's something I don't know that I foresaw an 8-win season, but you remember they were 4-8 a year ago. But that's what Willie Fritz does. If you look at his record, what he does in year 2 of his 6 jobs that he's had as a head coach, it's off the charts. About a game over 500 in his first year. Second year, he's over 20 games over 500. So it's that's what Willie Fritz does. It's a matter of having to build a culture, and it's. I think it might be a little easier to do in some regards now because of the transfer portal, because you can build it pretty quickly. And it's not about going out and getting transfers. It's about going out and getting the right transfers. And he's certainly gotten some guys that can help. And that's been the case so far this season.
Kevin, when he was at Tulane, he did a terrific job of finding guys who had left New Orleans to go to, maybe like a Georgia or an Alabama, and they get to those programs and maybe they hit a wall playing time wise and they come back home to New Orleans. The plan was sort of to do something similar in Houston. How has that, having Houston guys, right, that maybe played somewhere else come back home to Houston. This program embodies the city, kind of like the basketball team. I've started to notice that. How close is this city to this program and this team as far as the support?
Right now, it's not where it needs to be, and I think people know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, it's a different situation. You're not in a one-team town like a lot of college towns. There's 4 million people. Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York. Houston's the size of Chicago. I mean, there's a lot to do, and I get it. There's the same people who go, well, then should be a lot of people that can come to the games. I really think from a standpoint, if when they win, I mean, I was there. When they beat Louisville on a Thursday night and sacked Lamar Jackson 11 times, and there wasn't an empty seat in the house. You can't live on what you did a decade ago, but I know that it wasn't that long ago that you can have it like that again. And I think if they continue to win, that will be the case. Getting your message out, there's no other way to put it. There's a lot of A&M fans here. There's a lot of Texas fans here. There's a lot of LSU fans in Houston, Texas. But it's a big enough city for everybody. And if the Cougars win, that's where it starts. You got to make it a fun presentation at the game, and that's certainly something they've worked on. And the winning has certainly been there. The irony of it is they have 3 losses, and all 3 of them have been at home. They're undefeated on the road. So, the level needs to be raised. But at the same time, I've seen it done before, and it's not going to happen overnight. Willie Fritz is just in his 2nd season. There are a lot of options in this city, but I do think that the Cougars, they continue to do what they're doing. They'll move up that ladder as far as the option is concerned.
Well, one of the guys who really has improved the situation Houston football-wise is Connor Wigman, right? And there was issues with health. There was never really issue with ability, but it was whether it was the program fit, whether it was a different offensive coordinator. It seemed like every 6 months, now he's got some stability being in Houston, right? Playing under Willie Fritz, and clearly he's taken full advantage of the opportunity. How have you seen him develop and his game grow in the short time that you have been able to cover him? Honestly, Kev, to me, my heart is full that he's healthy. And he's had the opportunity to do everything he's done this year.
Yeah, and I preface this by saying I don't know this for a fact, but I got the feeling his last year at A&M that he was playing through some injuries. And when you play at that level, if you don't have the zip on the fastball, those defenses in the SEC, they're going to make you pay. I'm not sure that he was completely healthy, and again, that's my opinion. But this season, he certainly has been. Yes, has he made some throws in which you would want to have those back? I would say yes. But the thing that surprised me the most about Connor Wigman, that I didn't realize how good an athlete he is, because Connor Wigman, he's their 2nd leading rusher, and you're talking about a guy that's had a couple of 100-yard games. When the Cougars' offense is at its best, it's when he has the ability to run and they can get him out in space and help and let him run. That's when they're at their best, and that's when they can do some damage. He sees man-to-man coverage, and he sees those corners and safeties, running downfield with their backs to him, and he's just chasing them down the field. And that's certainly been a huge weapon for Connor. Again, decisions, everybody's going to not see that safety coming over the top every once in a while. That's going to happen. But all in all, it's been a very good season for Connor Wigman.
I want to talk about a couple more players, and then we'll talk about the matchup, and I'll let you go. I know you got a busy day coming up on the holidays. By the way, happy Thanksgiving. Happy early Thanksgiving.
Same.
Yeah. Dean Connors was a guy that I just was so excited to watch before the season. You knew he was going to have an impact, but he really has. And the transition, what is it, like 2.5 miles from Rice to Houston? Short trip, right? But he's made the most of it.
Yeah, and people forget, too, is that, they lost their leading rusher before the season even started. So a little bit of serendipity as far as Dean Connors is concerned. Rayshawn Sanford, their leading returning rusher from a year ago, their leading rusher last year, he tore his ACL, so he's been out all season long. But Dean Connors has stepped in a big way. And you just, as a guy who got that extra year of eligibility when they went back and changed the rules a little bit as far as the junior colleges are concerned, and he got that, and you knew he was going to try to take advantage of it. He certainly did. He's a hard-nosed guy. He's a guy from Hawaii. He played at Rice, which means that he knows the game and understands. He's an intelligent. He's a really interesting cat. He's a guy that I wouldn't be at all surprised about 5 years from now we see him on Survivor or something like that. But you know what? He's got all the things you need. He's, as far as a running back, he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. But at the same time, if you bunch everything up, he'll beat you on the outside. He'll beat you down the sideline.
Kev, was there a moment where you're ground zero with these teams, traveling and everything, getting to know them? Was there a moment when you thought to yourself, man, this Connor's kid, he is a little different?
You know what? I'm not exactly that close as far as that is concerned, but you can tell he's just he seems to be that guy that kind of walks into the room and you know that he knows a secret that nobody else knows. I get that. I get that. Time to time. And again, I have not spent a lot of time around most of the players. I'm working during the week. I got a real job, and so I'm on the plane, going to the games and things like that.
How about Amari Thomas? I did a game at UAB this last weekend, and Alex Mortensen, their interim head coach, talked about, their wide receivers and mentioned that, losing a guy like Amari Thomas to a Houston is just, that's the world we're living in. But he couldn't say enough about Amari Thomas and just how he was an elite level wide receiver. What about his game has been unique to you this year?
Well, and another guy that talk about opportunity knocking, because you think about Steph Johnson, was the kid that caught the pass, the Hail Mary against West Virginia a couple years ago, their first Big 12 conference win. He was expected to be their leading receiver, and he was very good for the first 3 games. But Steph Johnson got hurt, and all of a sudden, Amari Thomas, who was a guy that didn't know that much about, and man, he has a breakout game. I believe it was at Oklahoma State. Next thing you know, he's putting together 100-yard games one after another. And he's elusive. There's certain guys that you can tell. And Tanner Koziel, the tight end, is another one too, that you can tell they just have that feel with the quarterback, and where, it's not about the play that's called. It's about the play that you make when the play that's called not necessarily is there. And you can tell when guys are on the same page. Amari Thomas is certainly one of those guys with Connor Wigman.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tanner Koziel. I mean, it is fun. You go through this Houston offense, and it's like, you want to play like, now I'm aging myself, but you're probably in the same boat. You want to play Tecmo Bowl with him or Madden with him. Like this is a prolific roster with a lot of pieces here that get you excited just to watch the team.
Yeah, trust me, brother. If you want me to age myself, I'll go back to Pong or something like that.
Let's play some Atari.
But they've been able to put things together, and you can tell too. In the games that they've lost, they have struggled to get Tanner Koziel involved, and it's only been that the last game against TCU. And I give all the credit in the world to TCU's defense, because they took Tanner Koziel away. And they also limited what Amari Thomas's damage was able to do as well. And really, Connor Wigman wasn't able to rush the ball in the first half. That's another big key too, is his ability to run the ball. You can look, the loss to West Virginia, I think he rushed for 27 yards. In the win over Arizona State, I think it was 111 yards or 98 yards. He had back-to-back games of 98 and 111. So those are the things that were being that, to the credit of the defense in TCU, they were able to take that away. It gives you an idea of just how important guys like Tanner Koziel and Amari Thomas have become here with this offense.
What have you seen so far up close and personal from Willie Fritz since he's taken over that is encouraging to you that, oh man, like we could take what's happening here in year 2 and this could be something that sticks. We could become a prominent team in this conference.
It sounds cliche, but it starts, I think, with character, because that is what he is all about. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been around a lot of coaches, and I'm not saying anything negative about anyone. I'm just telling you, I've never been around a coach that is high a character guy, a head coach. And I tell this story. I remember the first last year, we would get off the bus. All the kids had their box lunches and stuff, where they're sandwiches or whatever for the bus ride to the airplane to go home after the game. I'm not kidding. He's the guy that makes sure nobody leaves anything on the bus, because he doesn't want the bus driver to have to pick it up. He's the guy. I'm not kidding. I've seen him with garbage bags and having people. Big 12 head coaches just don't do those things.
No.
That's the mentality that he has. There's no job that's too small. He talks about all the time about when his first head coaching job, he was taping ankles and lining the field. And I don't think, well, obviously he has changed from that. That is still in his DNA, and his ability to transfer that to players. And I think about in his recruiting, because I hear about big time recruits that are committed to him as much as the university. I'm shutting down my recruiting because I made a commitment to the University of Houston. The word commitment is the word. And I think that has a lot to do with the character of the head coach. Not only does he go out and find people that share his beliefs and values, but they reciprocate as well.
He's not a job chaser, right? I mean, he's taken his time to get where he is today, and that's kind of was on him, right? I mean, he matriculated, and he was on his own time, and here he is. He's not in a rush to get anywhere else.
No, and no, he's not, and it's really interesting too, because I think Willie is 64. I mean, you ever see him do the after the game, they pick him up and they
oh yeah, it's like he body surfs almost.
Yeah, they do the body surfing, and he's young at heart. But yeah, it's funny how just the paths different coaches take, whether it was starting, in Missouri for him and then on to Blinn Junior College and winning a national championship there and doing the same at Sam Houston before going to Georgia Southern and then Tulane. And people I mean, and this is no disrespect to Tulane, but man, winning at Tulane, high academic standards, a small, granted, there's a great deal of talent around, but a small, high academic standard school, private school, right there in New Orleans, in a small stadium, a small setting, and to be able to get that done. And remember, the year before he left, I mean, they beat Caleb Williams and USC in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, and it was no freak. I mean, this was no freak accident. This was they went out and, at the end of the game, took it to him at the end of the game. He gets people to believe in what he wants them to do. And there's something to be said. I know a lot of players are out, chasing what is out there to get in college football now. And I don't blame them for it. I don't blame it all for doing that. Get what you can when you can. But he has been able to get guys in that culture to be able to play hard for him, I think, and to play hard for their university.
Kevin, as we move to this Saturday, Baylor is in just a strange situation. I mean, the vibe around the school is, there are some folks who are just apathetic, because they're upset about Dave Aranda staying. Let me ask you this question. Somebody from, your Texas guy, from afar, what does this situation look like to you?
I hate to get into to talking about other schools' situations because I'm not
close. I asked the question.
I got from afar. It looks like they've won some games that you didn't expect them to win, but they've also lost some games that the fan base would like to. And I think it's a fine line. And I'll throw University of Houston in there as well. It's a fine line with some of these Big 12 schools of keeping the fan base energized, and you got to win, and mediocrity doesn't get it done. And it's the culture of college football today. Is that what have you done for me? Not lately. What have you done for me last week? You're rolling, and all of a sudden you get beat by somebody that the fan base doesn't feel like you should have gotten beat by, and next thing you know, there's 10,000 fewer fans at the game the next week, and it's I like I said, I don't like to talk. I don't know that much about it, but it does seem like a situation where it's tenuous right now. I do like the fact that you've made a commitment to this guy, and you're going to let him try to fix whatever the situation might be. I'm not saying anything's broken, but I'm just saying you're giving him an opportunity to, because let's face it, that's not the case anymore. And you look at James Franklin, go through and look at all the different places where money be darned. I mean, we'll cut you a check and we'll move on because the fan base wants it. And so I commend Baylor for doing that, sticking with it. Now, whether it'll work out, we're going to find out.
How does Houston finish strong in a game like this as you move towards, it'll be a lot of fun to see where the Cougars end up playing their bowl game. But right now, how do they finish strong on the road in Waco? It's going to be senior day. Baylor actually is, I kept their favored by 2.5, which I don't really understand, but I'm always wrong with this stuff. So what do I know? But it says something.
Yeah, I never can. I don't even look at all this stuff, but Again, it's a Houston team. I saw Houston up 24-0 at Arizona State. I mean, so is it? I also saw them get beat 17-14 by TCU when the most accurate field goal kicker in the Big 12 missed 2 field goals. You know, and it saw a pick thrown in the end zone. So until the game stops being played by a bunch of 19-year-olds, I don't know this. I don't be able to figure it out. But if Houston takes care of the football, they play really good defense. It's weird. You look at where they are statistically, and they're in the middle of the pack at everything: offense, defense. There's nothing they do great except win 8 games, and could have easily have won 9 games. And if they win this week, that's 9. Not everybody in the nation's winning 9 games. And if you get a win, I think that's a big. 9-3 is, it sounds a lot better than 8-4. And, they would obviously like to get that done here, but they just, in a weird way, they have just won football games.
Yeah, and that's a credit to Willie Fritz.
In a weird way, they have just won football games. It's not weird to me. Willie Fritz, that's a winning culture guy. He's won at every place he's ever been, including national championships at Blinn, national championship appearances at Sam Houston State, and a 12-2 Tulane team that defeated USC in a Cotton Bowl. Awesome stuff there from Kevin Eschenfelder. Thank you so much to him for joining us this week on the Pete Souza Show. You can find the Pete Souza Show every single weekday on YouTube from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Just search for the Pete Souza Show. Almost 100K subscribers. If you're here in Central Texas, great place to get both Baylor news and national news throughout the week. Well, stick with us here on KWTX. We've got about half an hour left. Kickoffs at 11 o'clock. We'll be with you here on KWTX to about 10:30. When we come back in just a little bit, we'll get back with Matt Mosley and Faith Lynch. We will recap the 2025 season, which I know for a lot of Baylor fans has not been what we wanted it to be. But, Kevin just said for Houston, 9-3 sounds a lot better than 8-4. I'll tell you something. 6-6 sounds a lot better than 5-7, and we're certainly rooting for a Baylor win today. And then, of course, before 10:30 arrives, we will get you set up with our Bear Essentials to victory and make our predictions for who's going to win this game between Baylor and Houston. Stick with us right here. This is Green and Gold Game Day, and we will be right back.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Welcome back to the 365 Sports Green and Gold Game Day Show. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you to KWTX and sticking around with us. We are 1 hour out from kickoff. It is 10, kickoff at 11, and we're going to reflect on the 2025 season coming up. But let's go ahead and check our Hour 2 fan poll that Andrew so lovely made for us. Do you view Houston versus Baylor as a rivalry? Kind of. That's kind of. That's what everyone, I guess, is saying. I feel that way too, because I think TCU is Baylor's rival. Because I just didn't grow up in the Southwest Conference. But I don't know. I know Matt probably feels differently. But
Well, it's gone away a little bit. I mean, the choices are interesting because it's okay. I thought all my hatred for TCU would get more than it did.
True.
546 votes. That tends to point to a lot of folks being out there watching us this morning. Happy to have you, KWTX, on the YouTube show as well. So that is interesting. I just think for those of us of a certain age, the SWC just brings back a lot of great memories. And what I hate, Baylor has TCU. What you wonder about, what did the conference really guarantee the other Texas schools? Well, not much. When you look at the rivalries that they protected, quite honestly, the SEC probably did a better job of scheduling out than the Big 12 did. But they preserved Baylor versus TCU, but I think we had all hoped that, the Texas Tech rivalry goes way back. Houston, and just a little bit as we get ready to reflect, Faith, and launch another poll or whatever, and I think you'll enjoy this. Darrell Royal was this legendary coach at the University of Texas. He was unbelievable. He won national titles. In about 1976, at a very young age relative to what these coaches are now, at about the age of 52, he stepped away. And it was really not for health reasons or any otherwise. It was because the Houston Cougars had come into the SWC. And in that first season, it was 75 or 76, they just destroyed Texas. And it's not like they hadn't played before, but I think at that point, because you had Switzer beating up on them as OU, and then you had this upstart team in Houston. And that was one of the great things that Bill Yeoman did. Bill Yeoman integrated his team well before a lot of these other Texas universities. In fact, Michigan State was really early up in the north to do that. Texas was slow. It happened in 1970 with Julius Whittier. But just a little history behind, when people still think of UT, Darrell Royal's name is mentioned. And Mac had a great run there, but it's talked about with great reference. But it was this Houston Cougar program that basically caused Darrell Royal to go, I'm about done with this. I've had a great run. And back then, coaches, and I don't know exactly why, but coaches would be done by the time they were 50, 54, 55. That was it. That was kind of retirement age. And now they'll coach right into their 70s, as we saw with Nick Saban. And Willie Fritz, the coach for the Cougs today, has a little bit of age on him. I'm sure he appreciates me putting it that way. He is, but he's in his 60s. He's doing well. He's 64, but taking good care of himself, although he's lost his voice this week. Do we need to launch another poll?
We do.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
And we can head back into Mosley's mind here a little bit. And man. I know it's a good and scary place sometimes, but we can do that and then also reflect on this 2025 season. But what will the results of today's game be? Bears win big, Bears win close, Cougs win close, Cougs win big. Make sure you interact with our poll on our YouTube side or in KWTX. And then Matt and I will give you our answers at the end of our show.
Yeah, that's
what we'll do.
That's certainly what we're planning to do. Andrew's doing a nice job on those. And again, join us on the YouTube, subscribe to us. Would also invite all of you to come over to the Matt Mosley Show weekdays. Am I allowed to, kind of do some of that?
Oh yeah, go
I
for
heard
it.
Scotty Scotty was pumping up some other things on the Rogue Media Network and 365 Sports. We got a lot to offer, and we appreciate everybody being with us today. It is time to reflect a little bit on the can I get back into UH history? Do we have to reflect on this season?
I know.
We can a little bit.
Well, I was just in our little break was kind of looking at Instagram, and obviously they're putting out a ton of senior stuff today, and lots of sweet messages, and Trig did an interview with John Morris on the Baylor Plus platform, and he talked about one of his favorite moments, and it was the storming of the field beating TCU. I just think that was really cool. Earlier Scotty talked about maybe a senior you'd like to see come back. I would love to see Trig come back for one more year. I know that's not possible, but I would love to see him stick around for one more year, because I think yes, he is ready for the NFL, but I think it would have been cool to see him at Baylor one more year, just to get really into the culture and to see more of who he is and more of his personality, and just see him grow a little bit more in this Baylor program. But he just mentioned a really sweet memory of getting to stand and as everyone's storming the field, and it's crazy win, really cool field goal. He's just standing there watching with his parents and seeing the Baylor community and everyone just be so excited for this win. So really sweet to, these guys have worked really hard. The senior class has gone through a lot. They went through COVID, some of them, their red shirts. Obviously an AD leaving, they've been through a lot. And I know Dave Aranda in his press conference defined this class as resilient. And I think that really speaks true of these seniors have gone through a lot and have poured a lot into this program. So that's my reflecting. Is more of a holistic versus this season, because this season it's been tough. I know you look at numbers and you look at across the board, it's not great. But this class has done a lot for Baylor football.
I think that's right. And I think somebody that you worked hard on the story, and Scotty as well, but that you all mentioned earlier today, Josh Cameron. Yeah. And the second straight year he's been up for that Burlsworth Trophy, which is the best walk-on in the country. And what an amazing person he is, first and foremost. And it took him a while to lose the red shirt and get on scholarship. But from day one, really, he was popping at spring games, and you're like, who is that? Okay, he's making plays, but he's not even on scholarship. And as we've seen with Redding, we've seen players in the past. I think back to Colin Brents from back in the Bryles days. There are just players who, and there was Caleb Parker, who came from the high school where my daughter went, Lake Highlands, that have incredible impacts. And that's why we thought with NIL and roster limits and all, that walk-ons, the concept of it might go away. I don't think it completely has gone away. It might to some certain extent. But there needs to be people like Josh Cameron playing in NCAA. And he's been great, and he's been steady, and he's been a steady hand and steady influence. And I do think it's important to remember today, we honor the players. You can be as mad as you want that this head coach is returning, and I think all that is fair, and I think some of that is probably appropriate. But, the players, and by the way, I do not like it when coaches sort of deflect, hey, I'm seeing this stuff against the players and all. The truth of the matter is, maybe there's some weird fan forum or on website stuff that I don't care about, and we should not. By the way, when you see idiot comments out there, we should not let them speak for everybody. We do that too much. So and so said something awful about so and so. Who cares about that kind of thing? I think for the most part, the Baylor family and the fans do very much appreciate this senior class. They don't appreciate this head coach, and I think they've made themselves known on that. But today really should be about hopefully coming out and celebrating that. Do I expect a large crowd? I do not. And unfortunately, the way this season has gone, and when I reflect back on this season, you bring up Trig, and of course, I immediately think of that Arizona State game. We didn't find out till a month or so after that an incident had taken place. And too much of this season has obviously over the last few weeks just been completely overshadowed. Lack of an AD, search. Is it going to be a new coach? All those things that are hanging over this season. And unfortunately, that's what we're going to remember about this season. And I think in almost any scenario where Mac Rhodes would still be in power here, this coach and this regime would be moving on and would be. I think if we're going to look for silver linings, you look at this recruiting class and trying to keep most of it together. Although there's one kid from Temple that seems to continue to show up. I believe his name's Jamarian, who continues to show up at these UT games. I hate seeing him there for that UTA&M game. So, but the Bears are trying to hold a class together, launch a portal, get enough money together to make sure they kind of have everything for that, and then hire an AD, and then the AD is going to just kind of watch and see which direction the program goes. And you know what? If it kind of like what happened with West Virginia recently, if somehow they turn it around next year and have a great season and win 8 or 9 games, then that's okay. Like I don't think, I mean, the fans that this year sort of rooted for failure because they thought it would cause a change, how did that work out? Well, sadly, maybe it would have worked out for you, but a scandal prevented the ultimate kind of what you were wanting on that. And so it didn't happen. So I don't think that's wasted energy to me, like rooting against your own team, hoping for a different outcome, hoping for a different coach, because look what's happened. They don't even have the structure in place to even be able to make that change. And now we're talking about Coach Aranda needing to get maybe more out in the community and how wonderful a person he is. But anyway, you've brought some good feelings today. And I call this Sentimental Faith Day. No, but I've really, all the things you said, I've really enjoyed. Okay, it is time, though, for Bear Essentials. And let's give our predictions for today. That's next.
Nation rolls along with Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Start with award-winning service and factory-trained techs. Then shop our new and used lineup from cars, trucks to SUVs, all makes and models. Running a business? We're your Central Texas headquarters for ProMaster vans, cabin chassis, and work trucks. For power and comfort, test drive the Ram 1500, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year winner again. Alan Samuels in Waco, proud partner of Baylor Athletics.
Come by, let's be friends.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
At Camp Info Waco, we believe fun is more fun outside. We also believe fun is more fun in the pool, by the water park, at your RV, in a cabin, and with the friends and family you love the most. So grab a drink, take a ride, and stay a while. We think you'll discover that fun is more fun outside, too.
It is the Green and Gold Game Day Show. Thank you, Mission Golf Cars. Thank you for what you do. Man, those things are snazzy. I wish one would pick me up right when I arrive at the media lot and rush me right over to the media area there where I always am digging around for my credential. And it's usually the wrong one that I produce. Faith Lynch alongside. Faith, thank you. Thank you for just being so good-natured and having nice things to say and bringing up the baptisms. I mean, the most of us are just like, okay, when's the AD coming? When's this happening? And yet the quarterback's out baptizing people. We got John the Baptist or Sawyer the Baptist or whatever. And the good news is it appears that they're doing full immersion, okay? They're sticking with the old Baptist. They're dunking them fully, okay? None of this sprinkling stuff that you see happening in other denominations. No, we like it all, and even a little sprinkle will kind of get you there, I think. But wonderful to see, and so thank you, Faith, for just, to me, bare essentials as we start this. And by the way, thank you for Ascension Providence. They're probably not want to be a part of my baptism talk, but we appreciate you guys, and we appreciate the team of doctors that have been a steady flow over to the Mosley Show this year. Scotty has gotten more free medical advice than he could ever have in a whole lifetime, and wonderful people over there at Ascension Providence and extremely talented doctors. And if you thought, there's almost no field of medicine, Faith, that you can think of that they don't address. Everything that could possibly happen in today's football game against the U of H, like they would be on hand and ready to treat. So anyway, but Faith, thank you for everything today, and for, I just like some of the positivity coming from you, and also the reminder that the volleyball selection show party is coming up. I think it's going to be held at another great partner of ours over at Brazos Landing. And now, what are we being projected? Is there, so you said back in 2019, the Bears made it to the Final Four and were a number 1 seed. Seems like always Kentucky's great, Texas is great, Iowa, Nebraska can play some volleyball, and they can pack a crowd.
They're undefeated, just won the Big Ten. I'm not quite sure how it will all shake out. I think we'll be a top 16 seed is what I'm guessing, so maybe like an 8 seed in that line, but I saw a prediction bracket from Michaela Chester. She does a lot of NCAA volleyball stuff, but she had us playing like UT El Paso, and then playing like an A&M. So we'll see how it all shakes out tomorrow. But yes, you should go to Brazos Landing, join. I believe it's a $25 payment for a plate, so you can hang out with the girls, have a meal, be there at a selection show. The NCAA volleyball will have a camera on the girls, so that's always cool, a chance to get on TV. But it should be really exciting time for them. And obviously it's fun to kind of take a step back this year and to watch it all unfold and maybe not be in it. But really proud of them and the way they've persevered this year, and just the team that they've all meshed into, and have some really great young freshmen, just like this football team, of a lot of great freshmen at Baylor this year.
That's
at Baylor
awesome.
Athletics. I think it's been really cool to see these freshmen grow. But I would love to hear your Bear Essentials and what you think is going to happen this game. I know this quarterback likes to run, and he seems to be very versatile in whatever team he's wanting to play against. But I do think with the trend of Baylor's defense this season, that he's going to be a runner.
Yeah.
We got a runner,
We
guys.
got a runner,
We
yeah.
got a runner.
This part of the show when I get extremely serious, I put on my reading glasses. And this is when we get down to some serious business. And I will tell you that Dean Connors for Houston is not only out of the backfield catching the ball, has run it for 800 yards. You're right about Connor Wigman. Now, not as fast as like Bird Ficklin, the backup quarterback for Utah, or a lot of Levitt. He's not quite as athletic as some of those guys, but very capable, will run, is fearless, has been a little iffy in the passing game, I would say, makes some mistakes. Their kicker may have some things in mind this week after missing a 38-yarder that would have tied it up against TCU. But what they do is they really stress you with their run game. They are averaging somewhere, about 180 rushing yards a game. They had about that much against TCU, and this is, as you know, Faith, an extreme problem area for the Bears. They have not been able to bottle up quarterbacks, and then, of course, running backs as well. They like to control the ball. They've got a number 9 that you'll want to look out for. I would say they've got pretty good slot players. When Houston was great in the early 90s with John Jenkins as head coach, and they would have receivers catch 90. One time I remember a receiver caught 100 passes in a season. They had a couple of them right near 100. And what they would be great at doing would be the inside receivers at running those routes, their slot receivers, finding openings. And again, air raid from Mike Leach, different from run and shoot, but they're both sort of part of the same family. Now, Willie Fritz, this is a different style what they've brought. The interesting thing to me is I look at this Houston team too. They run the ball well, and they play pretty good defense. And when I say consistent defense, let me tell you, they lost their defensive coordinator to Texas Tech this year. They had a young guy step up who's really, when I say young, very, very young. They went from 40th in the country in overall defense to 41st in the country. So like just right exactly the same. Didn't fall. What I think of these days with Houston, and what I remember from last year's game when Baylor beat them 20-10, is just massive defensive tackles. And with good quickness, I might add. And in the past, Houston's mainly been known for defensive ends who are fast, quick twitch guys that can get after the quarterback. And that is still present. But what they've come to be known for under Fritz, more than I can remember even in the past decade, is larger. They went to the portal and they kind of, and by the way, I'll tell you who else tried to do that this year with great success was Texas Tech. And Texas Tech brought in massive defensive linemen, and then they helped with their edge players. And A&M did the same thing 2 years ago and brought in a guy named Cassius Howe. Now he is a tremendous pass rusher. So, again, I think Baylor can learn from some of these programs, and I get the feeling that Baylor fans have right now because it's kind of like Houston's could go 9-3 if they beat Baylor. Arizona, arrow pointed up. Arizona State had a little bit of a down season based on their quarterback being out. But, I mean, across the board, other than Colorado, and I know UCF kind of really didn't do much this year, Scott Frost, but most of the Big 12, the arrow is pointing up. Even West Virginia has played a little better as of late. So you have 12 programs that are probably arrow pointed up. So Baylor feels right now like just kind of flatline, nothing happening. Today would be really nice to go out, and I know people would say, well, man, think what they could have had. I mean, why couldn't they have been like, but that's fine. Like have one day, like that UCF game on homecoming was nice for one game to go out and accomplish something. Now is the time of the show, Faith, where I think you and I need to give our predictions, and
yes,
you feel free to update anything you want to on a poll or whatever. That's I know earlier we had a poll that went for 600 votes, which I love seeing. I've got the Bears sadly dropping this game, and this team plays really good defense. Houston does, and I got the Bears losing this one 21-17. Always love to give a loss prediction for the Bears here on a Green and Gold game day. It really works well with our listeners and sponsors. No, but I do think I got to be real. We got to keep this real. 21-17, a loss by the sad old Bears, and they will not go bowling, but that'll give them more time to recruit and add to this wonderful class.
I would love to see what everyone else is saying. Let's check our poll real quick, and then I can give my prediction. But Cougs win close. I think that's not a surprise to anyone. Of this team's been doing really well, similar to in Arizona. I feel have had more of like a revival with this coaching staff, and they've been doing a really good job. So I agree. I think Cougs win. Let's say Cougs win close will be my prediction. I'll give a 24-14. Will be my score. Cougs win close. I would love to see Baylor go to a bowl game. I think it'd be really good for these seniors and just how hard these guys have worked, but don't know if it's in the card this year. And I mean, that would be the first time they haven't gone to a bowl game in 12 seasons, correct? We've been to 12 bowl games, 10 bowl games out of the last 12 seasons, I believe, under the Dave Aranda era. Someone can fact check me.
Well,
on
no,
that,
they didn't. Yeah, 2020 COVID, they missed that, obviously. And, they kind of bottomed out. And then, of course, they had their, 3-9 year in 2023. But for the most part, yes, they like to go bowling. But you don't want to go back to Amon Carter Stadium. You just do not. When you go bowling, you don't want to bowl at your arch rival's home. And I think they put things in place to prevent something like that from happening. Faith, this has been a lot of fun. And you said 24-17? Okay. And
Cougs.
Cougs.
Yeah, I know.
Man, I
Happy
hate
Green
that.
and Gold game day.
I wish there was just somebody. I wish at least Andrew would pick the Bears. Andrew, give us a decent score here. But it's been a lot of fun this year, and all the folks have done a tremendous. Kevin, even. I mean, Kevin's really matured throughout the season. Scotty's done a tremendous job. Thank you, Faith Pearson. Look at him counting us down. Thank you, KWTX, for everything, and thank you all our YouTube audience. We will see you next time. I started to see the countdown.
I know, I was like, ah.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.